Hey, this is Mr. Furious, or M Furious 53, with a action figure review of Marvel Select Colossus by Diamond Select Toys. I just picked this guy up today. He just came out today. I really like him. I don't have many Marvel Select figures at all, but this guy easily became my favorite. I mean, he's got way better articulation than most Marvel Select figures. He's got great paint. He's got a nice sculpt, and he just looks really nice. On to him in a minute. Let's briefly look at the packaging. Marvel Select packaging. It's very basic. It's basically just a square-shaped bubble with some cardboard around it. It's really nice. Sometimes Marvel Select toys really anchor their figures into that plastic tray, and sometimes it does a lot of harm. But he was really easy to get out, and he wasn't super hard. He wasn't tied in there way too tightly, so that was good. He comes with this. It's not really a display base; it's more of a display back, or just an accessory piece. It's the hydraulic wall or hydraulic lift from the Danger Room. You can either lay it right down, or you can put it up against the wall, and I don't know, put him up against it and make like he's pushing on it or something. Anyway, all right, on to this figure. I'm gonna kind of give you a how-to tutorial in the middle of this, how to get a figure's head off without damaging it. It's only gonna take a second, so it's not gonna add any extra time to the video, but he has a very delicate ball joint in his neck, so and he has this piece is removable, so you want to see him without it. You want to see him without a shirt on. Anyway, on to the figure. Like I said, I really like him. Let's look at the aesthetics of him closer. The mold, the sculpt, and the paint. The first thing you're going to notice is that nice chrome, that silver chrome glossy paint. I mean, it's really nice. I don't know if it's considered gloss. I think chrome might be its own style, but the part on his steel body that you can see, the little pieces, the little lines going through it, where it's the different pieces of the organic steel coming together. I mean, it's very simple, not too much of it. He's more of the classic style Colossus, where he has, I don't know, I guess he has less of these little pieces. And the paint on there, I mean, it's super shiny. It reflects light off of it extremely well. So, I mean, every time you're looking at this guy from a different angle, I mean, he almost looks different. It's just the one color silver in there. It doesn't look like there's any different color paint in there. But I could be wrong, but I think it's just the way the light reflects off it, the different crevices and the way it reflects. It just looks like there's a lot more detail on there. I mean, every different angle you look at this guy, I mean, look at that. He looks amazing. All right, so there's one problem with the silver paint. It cracks. See right there? There is some paint rub in these joints, especially his. Well, these are the only joints I've seen it in. The shoulder joints. Those little hinges in there are rubbing, and that paint's cracking off. So, I mean, that's kind of annoying. You would think they could figure out something that simple. So, I mean, that's not a huge deal. As long as it doesn't progress any further than that. I mean, so just be careful with it. I could definitely imagine if you drop this guy on some concrete or something, then I think it would chip. So be mindful of that. All right, so his costume, I mean, the paint in there, it's not quite a matte. It's a little bit glossier than a matte. It's like a satiny finish, and the detail in that sculpt is really nice, especially on his what are these called, pecs. It's just really nice sculpt detail on there, and there's lots of nice shading and toning throughout. That it just makes it look really nice. In the boots too. See that there's lots of dirt wear on there, or simulated dirt wear. Real nice designs throughout. I mean, it's just really solid painting. It looks really classic. And then his belt and cuffs are a metallic, a glossy metallic finish, and that's really nice. It really makes it pop. Really good looking. I like that a lot. His head sculpt is phenomenal. really chiseled. He's got that trademark flat top of his, and just his eyebrows and his nose and his jaw. He's just really finely chiseled, and he just really looks like Colossus. Another nice thing is these boots, these little pieces of his boots, they're not connected to his knee. So that comes off, so you can bend it and bam. So that is a really nice touch. All right, so his head does come off. Or I'm sorry, his chest piece comes off, and he has a bare chest down there, so you have to take off his head. But my head is really tight on there, and it's a very long, thin ball joint in there. So be careful with that. So what you want to do is get some hot water, like this, hot water, soak his head in there. I mean, you want to get it really hot, but not quite boiling. I mean, if it's really super boiling, you run the risk of damaging the paint. So just let it soak in there. The objective is to get the plastic kind of soft and pliable. Now he does have a whole, hollow head, so let the water that's inside there drain out, because you don't want scalding water on your hands. So that should have softened it up a bit. It should just pop right off. All right, make sure you get all that water out, and then this should just slide off. Now, be careful when you're sliding that off, just because that paint, I mean, I'm gonna just treat it like it's very delicate. Like even this might be able to scratch it off. See that long, thin neck joint? So just be careful when you're reinserting that, because I mean, you never know, something that long and thin could easily snap. Alright, so there he is without his top. This little piece remains, so it does look kind of silly. I mean, but he does look good without that top on. I mean, look at all that back muscle. I mean, his neck, these muscles up here, and just up front up here. I mean, it's really nice. I really like that. I mean, just the detail in his muscles is superb. I actually I don't know if I like him better without the, I mean, he just looks really good. I mean, the more of that nice chrome paint I can see, the better. We'll put it back on just for posterity's sake, and I will show you how to, this may have hardened up again, and it might be a little bit difficult to get on. So you might want to soak it again. You can just soak the neck this time. Yeah, I'll soak the head too. Just let it sit there again, just a little bit. Just aim that ball joint up and put as little amount of pressure on it as you can. You don't want to add any extra stress if it's not necessary. Alright. Get all that water out again. You don't want to burn yourself. Alright. So let's get a size comparison of him. He is very tall. I mean, Colossus is, I think he's 7'5" in organic steel mode and transformed mode. So I mean, he's tall. He's about 8 inches tall in this figure. I mean, he's huge. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be as big as Juggernaut. I don't have him, but here he is next to Marvel Universe Colossus. I mean, he's standing straight up tall, and his knees are bent. I mean, he is gigantic. So I mean, you definitely get your money's worth of plastic. When you're buying this guy, make sure there's no stray paint around. There's a little piece of paint. Actually, that's a chip. Just try and get one that has the least amount of chipped paint. You're going to want to look under his arms, especially. That's where it's the worst. Just make sure there's no stray, pieces of, black paint in the yellow or anywhere like that. Marvel Universe has pretty good quality control, so just keep an eye on that. Make sure his hairline is nice and straight and his eyes are on there. Make sure that little bag under his eye or that little fold under his eye, make sure that's not blue. Make sure it's still silver. Look at that face. Man, that is a nice paint. Look at that sculpt, too. Whew. Really like this figure. Alright, so articulation. He's got great articulation for a Marvel Select figure. It's got the ball-jointed head, which you just saw. Swivel 360. He looks up and down phenomenally well. It's got that ball-jointed shoulder. It's really tight, but it's got great movement. It's got a bicep swivel, a hinge elbow, and he's got ball hinge hands, ball hinge wrists. It's really nice, so it can do that. There was a lot of this kind of high gloss paint is really thick, so it gets stuck in joints. So you might have to heat this piece up so you can bend it like that just to get rid of that excess paint that's inside that joint. Ball jointed chest, swivels 360, and it's just got great back and forth, side to side. It's got a ball hinge, or a ball jointed hip, a thigh swivel, double jointed knee, shin swivel, and he's got a, I guess this is a hinge swivel foot, so it can go like this and do that little side swivel. So I mean, he's got great articulation for a Marvel Select figure. Usually they just don't have that great articulation, which I never understood. You know, usually the bigger, more expensive toys usually have more articulation. I mean, because it's easier to fit that into a bigger toy. So I never really understood that, and I'm really happy that they added all that in here. I mean, I'm very happy with this figure. Alright, so should you buy this figure? I'm going to give you a yes. If you want to get a Marvel Select figure, go for this one. I think he'd be a great introduction into your Marvel Select collection if you want to start. If you love the X-Men, definitely get him. I mean, I have Gambit, I have Deadpool, and I mean, he just puts those to shame. He is phenomenal. You can find this guy in most comic shops that carry action figures. The smaller ones might only get 1 or 2 in. The bigger ones that have more sale volume will have 4 or 5. You shouldn't have that tough a time finding him in comic shops. And if you can't find him, he is going for very cheap on the internet. On Amazon and eBay, I've seen him for like $15. So yeah, I recommend him. I really like this figure, like I said. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful, and until next time, keep collecting.